that yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans, the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this. The process.
Welcome to The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting, your home for Alabama football recruiting news every Tuesday and Thursday right here on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. So go ahead and subscribe to Touchdown Alabama so you can stay updated on everything Tide Recruiting with The Process. And yours truly, I am your host, Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiter analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. We have another great show on tap for you guys today on The Process Tuesday show, a fresh new show, a fresh new week of shows of The Process on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. But on this episode, I actually wanted to take a look at the Tide's recruiting efforts when it comes to the defensive line position in the 2021 recruiting class. Of course, the Tide already has one verbal commitment from a defensive tackle in the 2021 recruiting class with a pledge from 2021 three-star defensive tackle Quinn Barnes out of Lee Montgomery High School in Montgomery, Alabama. But there are plenty more targets on the board for the Tide in the 2021 recruiting class when you look at the defensive line group. So I wanted to break down some of the Tide's defensive line targets and where the Tide stand in their recruitment on this episode of The Process. But before I get a chance to dive deeper into that, we have to hit you guys with those recruiting updates to start the process off. So with that being said, let's get the process started. I'm going to start this group of recruiting updates off with the biggest recruiting update with the Tide's 2021 four-star linebacker target Kendrick Blackshear announcing that he has a top 3 of Alabama, LSU, and Texas A&M on Instagram Live Monday night. He also said he's looking at announcing his commitment on July 15th or quite possibly in 2 weeks. I provided some information on where I think the Tide stands in his recruitment in the latest edition of Justin's Recruiting Bites. You guys can read that and also read about the Tide picking up their push for a 2021 three-star offensive lineman. So go ahead and subscribe to TouchdownAlabama.com. There's no better time than now so you can read that article, that Justin's Recruiting Bite, the latest edition, and read all of our subscriber-only content over there at TouchdownAlabama.com. But moving forward with some more big recruiting news when it comes to the Tide's 2021 recruiting class. 5-star offensive lineman Amarius Mims announced that he will announce his commitment on August 15th, and it looks like the Tide is still in the mix to grab his commitment. Going back to the Future 50 Media Day event in Orlando, Florida in December, Alabama looked like the clear-cut favorite from Mims at that point, and it looked like they have continued to stay in a great position with them from that point moving forward. So I think the Tide is still in that great position, so it definitely is something to pay attention to with him announcing his commitment on August 15th. This is a Georgia and Alabama battle, and I think that the Tide is in a great position, as I said, and they were also included in another top school list and a top 8 released by Mason Smith, a 5-star defensive tackle out of Louisiana. A lot of people feel that LSU is in a great position with Mason, but I think the Tide is right there as well, as they were included in that top 8 released by one of the top defensive tackles in the 2021 recruiting class out of Louisiana. Not only is the Tide recruiting prospects in the 2021 recruiting class, they also are looking at future recruiting classes. Of course, they have 2 verbal commitments from recruits in the 2022 recruiting class. They are also still pushing for some guys. One of those guys is 4-star offensive lineman Addison Nichols out of Greater Atlanta Christian School in Norcross, Georgia. He released a top 12 recently. I caught up with Nichols and I got a chance to talk with him about the conversation he had with Nick Saban during his last visit and his thoughts about the University of Alabama. You guys check out that article in the description of this video. The Tide was also included in a top 10 released by 2022 4-star running back Jabron Payne out of Cincinnati, Ohio, by the way of LaSalle High School. This is a kid who I caught up with when he received an Alabama offer on last month. He was really excited about getting that offer. I will drop that link in the description of this video as well. So a lot is going on with Tide recruiting news. As always, recruiting news is going to continue to flow. It's going to continue to be out there for Tide fans to soak up and get all of that information about Alabama's coaching staff recruiting efforts when it comes to them pushing for recruits in each recruiting class. But those are the updates I wanted to provide you guys with. And before I close out on this update section, I do want to hit you guys with the last update with the Tide's 2021 4-star defensive end target Monkel Goodwine expressed to me that the Tide has been in contact with them heavy as of late. Of course, Nick Saban Zoom called him recently, but multiple members of the Tide's coaching staff outside of Nick Saban have also been in contact with them. You guys can check out my interview with Monkel Goodwine on touchdownalabama.com. Another subscriber-only article. Go ahead and pick up that subscription. I know you want to read all about the Tide's recruiting efforts in the 2021 recruiting class. So you guys check out that article on touchdownalabama.com. The link will be in the description of this video as well. But now I'm going to head over to break down some of the Tide's defensive tackle targets, defensive line targets overall in the 2021 recruiting class. I'm going to start things off with 2021 5-star defensive tackle Mason Smith out of Louisiana, who recently included the Tide in his top 8. This is a guy who stands at 6'6" and weighs more than 300 pounds. He has a similar frame to the Tide's current defensive tackle commit and Quinn Barnes in terms of their height and their weight as well. But this is a kid who can move very well with this 300-pound size. One of the more impressive things about his game to me is the fact that this is a kid who does not just use his size to basically just run over offensive linemen. You see this guy using rush moves, using different moves to get to the quarterback, get to the ball in pursuit of the football. And I think that is something that's really impressive about him, especially with him being a 300-pound defensive tackle prospect. Damon Payne out of Michigan, a 5-star defensive tackle, was another guy I will pay attention to. Here, this is a guy who's very impressive on the football field, has one of the more explosive jumps when it comes to a defensive tackle in the entire 2021 recruiting class. When you look at this guy's film, it almost looks as if he's in the backfield before the ball is even snapped, which is very impressive for a defensive tackle prospect, especially with the way the game is evolving. We saw that former Alabama defensive tackle Quentin Williams drop a couple of pounds so he can get faster. I see a lot of that in Damon Payne in terms of him being a very quick defensive lineman in the 2021 recruiting class. So he's definitely a guy to watch out for in the Tide's 2021 recruiting class when it comes to defensive line position. Monkel Goodwine, a 2021 4-star defensive end out of Maryland, is one of the defensive ends the Tide is still recruiting at this very moment. Of course, the Tide has been involved in his recruitment for quite some time, going back to when he first visited Tuscaloosa. That was the first school he ever visited, was the University of Alabama. And I did get a chance to talk with them recently and talk about some of the coaches that are in contact with him outside of Nick Saban. He also talked about when a decision could possibly come from him, and also discussed what his overall feel was about the Tide's coaching staff. You guys can read that article on touchdownalabama.com. But Goodwine is a scrappy defensive end, a guy who loves to pursue the football. I really like the way he goes after the football, even when the play is a broken play and it's a play where the runner breaks free in the open field. This is a kid who has no problem with chasing the football down the field, and you like to see that from a defensive end. Moving over to Thomas Adilier, 4-star defensive end out of IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. He will play a senior season at IMG Academy. Actually played in Katy, Texas for his previous football season, but he'll play a senior season at IMG Academy. And Alabama has been a part of his recruitment for quite some time now. Heading into the spring, in the summer, you could have argued that the Tide was the leader in this recruitment, but Ohio State did get its pledge. But Alabama's coaching staff has not cooled off on Adilier. He told me that they have been in contact with them every day. You guys can read more about what Adilier said over at touchdownalabama.com when it comes to the Tide's coaching staff staying in contact with them every day throughout this recruiting dead period. They were looking to host them in March, but unfortunately they was unable to do that because of the current recruiting restrictions. But Adilier is definitely still in the mix, a guy who's still keeping his recruitment open when it comes to staying in contact with coaches from other schools. 2021 4-star defensive tackle Tim Kenyon out of Birmingham, Alabama, is one of the Tide's top in-state targets and one of the Tide's top defensive line targets in the 2021 recruiting class. This is a kid who joined me on the process a couple of episodes back, and he talked about how the Tide's coaching staff have been telling him that he knows where they stand in his recruitment in terms of they want him to join the 2021 recruiting class. This is a guy who Alabama's coaching staff has been recruiting since he was a 10th grader at Ramsey High School, so the Tide still looks to be heavily involved in his recruitment. I think he's going to continue to say that he's going to wait until National Signing Day to announce his decision. I think that is still the plan at this moment, but the Tide is still heavily involved. The last guy I'll put into this is Lee Hunter, the 2021 four-star defensive tackle, is currently committed to Auburn. He's a product of 8 Mile, Alabama, by the way of Blunt High School. Of course, he constantly says his recruitment is still open, and I think the Tide are still involved in this recruitment as well. And I think he's gonna keep things open as much as possible before he shuts everything down. I think Auburn currently has his commitment in terms of firm at this very moment. I think his commitment is firm, but as he said, his recruitment is still open. It's just one of those recruitments to look out for as far as the Tide continuing to push for Hunter. This episode of The Process. Before you go ahead and subscribe to Touchdown Alabama on YouTube. Then head over to touchdownalabama.com. Pick up a subscription. With that subscription, you'll be able to read all of our subscriber-only articles, read our in-depth scouting reports on each Alabama commit in each recruiting class. Also read our in-depth draft projections when it comes to the Tide's current players who are currently eligible to declare for the NFL draft. You also get your hands on our yearly print magazine issue. So go ahead and subscribe to Touchdown Alabama so you can get all of that great content. Then head over to your app store, whether that is the Google App Store or the Apple App Store. Download the Touchdown Alabama app so you can get some notifications sent to your phone when it comes to Tide breaking news, whether that is recruiting or news pertaining to the Tide's current roster. So go ahead and download that Touchdown Alabama app as well. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine.